It's your number one station, RX Radio, playing you so much great music. And this is the Fatboy Show, hosted by none other than me, myself, and yours truly, Mr. Fatboy. A number of people have asked me to change the name. They feel like it is no longer befitting of a person of my current stature. In my previous stature was such that the name was probably more warranted because I was a huge guy, obese, you could even say. You know, to be seated in the studio with a lady who I am almost the same size with, at least it's a good reminder of how much I've changed. You remember me from back when I was a huge guy, Lindsey. By the time we met in 2010, I think is when we first met physically, I was a huge guy, wasn't I?
You were fat.
I was body shaming, fat shaming.
You were a fat man.
I was a fat man, and so I was called a fat boy. And here we are, almost... how many years now? 13 years down the road, and we're almost the same size.
Yeah, someone saw the show that we did, and they sent me a message, and they were like, "Is that Fatboy?"
Really?
That's not Fatboy. He looks amazing. He looks great.
Oh, is amazing the word they used?
Yes. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, on
so
your
much.
update.
Okay.
On your upgrade.
Right.
Yep.
Well, on your part, for your part, you have maintained. And assuming that's what you want, then I guess that's also good.
That's just genes.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to grow bigger?
I feel like I have grown bigger.
You have?
I don't know if you have noticed.
Yes.
But I'm so small that it's irrelevant.
Well, you know what? To ascertain that, I'd probably want to make you stand up and turn around, but then you would say that's sexism.
No, I can stand.
Oh.
I can,
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
There's even a small one.
Wow.
No.
There's some booty up in here.
There's a booty up in there. and it's not my microphone is not on.
I think it's on. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So it's not what many women would describe as booty.
Okay.
But for where I've come from, it's booty.
Well, that's very good. And aren't you glad that we live in a world where now you can freely express your beauty in any way that you wish? You can go around and put yourself out there and be sexy, to be admired by men. Although, of course, then you'll turn around and say, oh, that's the male gaze. I hate that. Well,
unfortunately or fortunately, I've never relied on... What is the word? Validation.
From men.
Uh-huh. Yes. Even when I was skinny, you know me, the men were coming in and out like water.
Oh!
Even when I had no
bum. Someone's flexing for us today.
No, but am I lying?
No, you see, there was a lot of demand for you.
Yes, yes, there was. I have never.
You had your pick of men.
Yes, I did.
Very handsome men at that. I remember a few.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not the kind of person who has ever considered beauty. Like I've never understood it. Like even when people said, "Oh, Lindsey, you're beautiful," for me that just didn't register as something to use or to even notice, because I am the kind of person who realizes that it comes, it goes. It's not an asset, you know.
Are you saying that because you're aging?
No, and I'm aging beautifully, thank you very much. But even if I wasn't aging beautifully, if I was skinny, you know, I could have become skinny, yeah. So I feel like my my personality is what drew people to me. I did not.
I would agree. I think my recollection is that a lot of the men you attracted seem to really like your vibe. They like that you were smart. They like that you were fun to talk to and fun to hang out with. And you were like a magnet that just pulled people to you. So I think it made it easier for you to pick the men you wanted, and I'm guessing you have enjoyed your dating life for the most part.
For the most part, yes.
Okay. Of course, nothing is ever perfect, but you take what you can get, right? But that being said, when it comes to the issue of marriage, though, in society, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot of disillusionment. Either it seems people are too spoilt for choice, there are too many good options, they don't know who to choose from, Or in some cases, they are too devoid of choice. Women are constantly saying, but where are the men? Where are the men? I can't find the man. And men might similarly echo the same sentiments. They might say, oh, women of today are like this and like that. They don't make them like they used to. So everyone just seems to be confused about it. Divorce rates are through the roof. And speaking of divorce, over the course of the week, there's been a lot of excitement over the story of a football player called Hakimi.
Yeah.
And pardon my insufficient knowledge of football, I don't even remember what team he plays for. Is it Paris Saint-Germain? PSG? Is that the team he plays for? The producer agrees. Okay, so that's it. And I think he was earning about €1 million a month. Anyway, so his wife filed for divorce, citing various issues. And when the matter got to court, she found that she was unable to get the courts to give her 50% of this man's assets. Because,
as per the laws of that particular country.
And yes, and is the case in many countries. Really, if you're married, upon the dissolution of the marriage, there are provisions for the distribution of assets, the division of property.
Yes.
And in a fairer society, it might be a 50-50 situation, and in other cases, they really clean out the man.
But realistically, in our society, the woman is tossed out.
Okay, but let's look at the case of...
I have to just say it. Realistically, in our society, when a marriage ends, the woman is in trouble.
We'll get to that. So,
yes.
But we're on Hakimi now.
Yes.
So, and I haven't read the court documents, but the talk is about how he's now a hero for men for having played this ex-wife now, making her believe that she was going to be entitled to so much property. And as it turns out, all of his property and most of his cash was in the names of his mother, right?
Yes.
And the mother was hailed as a hero for men. And they say, not all heroes wear capes, some wear hijabs, meaning the mother.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it then provoked a conversation about the issue of compensation for wives. Because a lot of women felt like it was fraudulent on the part of Hakimi to deceive his wife, or to hide from his wife the fact that his assets were in the mother's names. Full transparency would have required him to disclose this information, and so that in the event of a divorce, she would be entitled to half of it. Now, as it turns out, because he has no property in his name,
mm-hmm.
she has more in her name, so it may end up being the case that she pays him.
It is already the case. The court ordered her to hand over half her net worth to him.
Can you imagine? So anyway, it backfired. So everyone's been having a good laugh about this.
Here's a case where she trusted him, but he, I'm going to use the words plain evil, and premeditatedly made sure that in case anything happened, this woman, who he was calling his wife and mother of his children, would get absolutely nothing.
And how is that not just? Because you are without a child, but if you had a son, and this is why, there's also been a conversation about why women hate mommy's boys. Most men believe that your mother is the only woman who will love you unconditionally. Any girlfriend or wife you obtain will be with you only to the extent that you're able to give her what she needs, usually material provision. Mm-hmm. And absent that, usually she will abandon the marriage or for any other reason.
Mm.
But your mother will be there with you till the end. I mean, look at the trial of any serial killer. His mother will be on the podium saying, "It can't be my baby. My baby's an angel." Almost to a fault, mothers are so loyal to their sons.
That's not to a fault. Mothers are loyal to all their children.
Okay.
Yes.
So that being said, surely wouldn't you be wary of your son getting married, your successful son getting married to a woman, and risk losing half his property to a wife? Wouldn't you, like Hakimi's mother, wish to protect him from that kind of action and encourage him to find ways of hiding his assets?
No, because I would not have wished for my husband's mother to have done that to me as I sell my life, literally my life. I'm sorry, I'm getting married to you, to your son. And it would be nice to know if Hakimi's mother had been subjected to that treatment by her husband.
That's a good point. That is a good point. But considering that divorce is more common now,
yes.
Surely there's a heightened risk of it as compared to in her time, right?
Yes.
Meaning it would make sense that she would be more cautious of it than she might have been at the time, when she was getting married to her husband. I don't know if he's still alive or if they're still together. But at least as a man, I can say that I look at that situation and I feel vindicated because I'm one of those guys who constantly complains about the materialistic nature of most marriages. I do not begrudge a woman the desire to be with a wealthy man, but then you guys keep pretending that it's about love and it's not about the money. And yet when push comes to shove, it almost always then becomes about the money, because otherwise she could have just dissolved the marriage and walked away.
Well,
she had that option.
When a man marries a gold digger, he's usually aware that he's marrying a gold digger. He's usually aware that he's using his money
yes,
to get her into his life.
But the thing is, for most men, this is almost a given. Like, you don't even have to be rich. At the very least, you need to be able to take a girl out to a nice dinner.
But whose fault is that? That is the fault of a society that men built and rules that they wrote. They don't feel worthy if they are not able to financially provide for their woman.
That's a bit unfair. I feel like men are simply responding to the incentives that women have provided, because the women reward wealthy men and successful men with their attention and their love and intimacy and affection. So men are made to understand that, okay, that's what I have to do. I must bring something to the table to be considered by a female.
Fatboy.
Because women are the ones who choose.
Do we want to talk about the things that women do for poor men? Even poor men have the right to get married. Poor men have the right to find love, and they find it.
If you're poor but the poor men who, I guess it's again, let me use the word incentives.
Mm-hmm.
For the poor men that have been able to find love, they usually either have to be extremely good looking or there has to be something of value they're bringing to the woman's life. And to be fair, this is how it works for everybody. There is no free lunch in the world.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to marry a woman if I didn't find her attractive at the very least, or offered something of value to my life. We all want something, which is why we seek these partnerships.
I would risk that the value that a poor man, for example, is bringing to a woman's life to start off is love and attention. That courtship period is extremely important. He's telling her nice things.
Because how many broke guys have you dated?
Me?
Yeah.
How many broke guys have I dated? 3. One of them was a missionary. Actually, no money whatsoever.
Well, because, I know some of the guys you dated, and they weren't the poorest dudes in town. They were doing
but
all
I wasn't. I didn't ask for their bank balance. I was not interested in their money whatsoever.
Yeah, but you see, but in all fairness, and even to the women who will say it's not about the money, many of them will struggle to deny that it's about lifestyle. And even as a man understanding, very few women are gonna, these days there are more, but few generally are gonna just come right out and say, give me cash. Most are simply going to respond to the lifestyle advantages that come with you having money, like the trips, the treats, the dinners, the drinks, the parties, and the gifts, right? So
there's been a cultural evolution there. You now have situations where you even once mentioned it, about splitting a bill where a woman is paying a bill. So there is a cultural evolution going on in the dating game as well as in the marriage game. Even in a marriage game, you will have...
She was a Muzungu.
But even with Africans, you will have situations now where the women and the men are sharing and reversing roles that were not there before. So I think right now we're going through a cultural evolution.
So to the issue of Hakimi once again.
Yes.
If women are feeling disturbed by the excitement men are showing over that story, how is it they would want men to see them? Would they rather that men be willing to fork out half their fortune and wealth in the event of the dissolution of a marriage? To you, this is fair?
To me, this is fair. This is fair.
A woman I've been married to maybe 3, 4, 5 years or even 10 years should take half my wealth. This is fair.
This is fair. I'm speaking as a woman who has spoken with women who have been with rich men. And for the most part, rich men put those women through a lot behind closed doors.
Yeah, but you have choice in this matter. You're not in a prison. If you're not happy in a relationship, you can leave.
You are in a prison because he has the power. He has the money. He has more than
and
you.
You chose to be with him.
Therefore, yes, you chose to be with him. Yeah. But once that love phase, the rose, the roses are out of your eyes, then you start being realistic. You have become accustomed to living a certain lifestyle. You have become accustomed to socializing with certain people. So when this divorce ends, your life is over. Literally.
How?
Your life is over because if he replaces you, his friends don't know you anymore. His friends' wives don't know you anymore.
And neither would your friends know him.
He doesn't care about your friends.
So then why is it his problem?
He is not integrating into the wife's life. Usually the wife is integrating into the husband's life, especially when money is involved.
You're going to have to factor in the element of choice, because I think it's a hard sell to claim that a woman is essentially a hapless ragdoll just being dragged around with no choice, no agency, no volition to choose what kind of marriage she wishes to enter into, what kind of man she will be married to, and how the marriage shall be conducted. You can't tell me she has no say in this.
Why let's talk. I'm going to talk again about the society that men have built and the rules that they have built. Why is it that fathers still give away daughters? You are being given away to this family. And this is a conversation that I have had today with very many women. Once you get married, your family does not know you. You now belong to the man. Now the problem is, you don't belong anywhere, because once a man doesn't want you anymore, then your family has already thrown you out. The man's family throws you out. You're in a very precarious situation.
So maybe this might need to be broken down in terms of different demographics, but many of the studies do show that the majority of divorces are initiated by women. So it is women that are mostly exiting the marriages.
Cultural evolution. Now they can afford to.
And if they have a university degree or college degree, the number rises to 90% of divorces are initiated by women, which to a man, this feels like a bit of a paradox, because it's almost a cliche about how women literally drag men down the aisle, about how men are happy to play the field, and usually it takes a woman a tremendous amount of effort to get a man to be willing to get married. Most men can attest to this, and perhaps you've had similar conversations with boys or guys you date, asking them where is this going, what is it, where he's looking at it casually, but you are more interested in a formal commitment. So it is women that agitate for these marriages, and yet once you get the marriages, you're usually the first to bail out, which is a bit of a paradox.
I would disagree. I have found that when a man does not want you, no amount of agitation on your part is going to make him marry you.
Many a man have succumbed to the nagging of
Not
girlfriends.
many. A small percentage.
When
a man wants a woman, he knows that. He already knows this is a woman he's going to marry. The rest of you, he's wasting your time.
So then you still have the option, once you are married, for whatever reason, to decide, okay, that this is a marriage that works for me. This is my lifestyle aspiration. The decades of feminist activism has provided me opportunities to seek careers, to be educated, to live the life that I want. There are no legal impediments to me pursuing my dreams. Just a minute.
Okay.
Especially, and maybe to keep the conversation focused, we can talk mostly about sort of urban women even in developing countries.
I was going to talk about urban women also.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I would think that urban women in even developing countries operate at almost the same amount of opportunity and aspiration as their contemporaries in the more developed countries. So that being said, a girl who's been to university here in Uganda has a job in some capacity. She decides, okay, that dude drives a fancy car, he lives in a nice house, he has money, I think I would like to marry him or I'd like to date him. She has made that choice. Now, over the course of the courtship, if he is displaying behaviors that she does not like, she can obviously exercise her free choice to exit the situation. And if these behaviors only begin to manifest after the marriage has taken place, she too can exercise her right to exit the marriage if she so chooses. Why is it that then requires financial compensation to be given to her? Because I just don't see how that logically makes it, or how it is necessitated. If you want to leave the marriage, leave. You're an educated, accomplished woman, probably with a career. Why do you need half my money and property? Are
you making as much as he is? Who is contributing more to the household? Who is contributing more to the school fees?
Even if it's the man doing so, why?
Yeah, what do you mean? If you leave, then you have all of these new financial responsibilities that you could handle on a dual income, 70%, maybe 85% him, and then the rest you. But if you leave and you get no compensation, then you're left becoming a struggling single mother with an existing ex-husband, yes, but you're still a struggling single mother.
This is why I think in life, I mentioned in life there is no free lunch. You pick your battles and you need to make trade-offs. You're never always going to have things the way that you want. If you have decided that you are so tired of this man that you don't want to be married to him anymore, while at the same time you understand that you can't afford to maintain the lifestyle you did while being married, you are going to have to bite the bullet and accept that your lifestyle shall be downgraded. And if this is about the lifestyle for the children, then if, in my opinion, if the woman has any dignity, she would surrender custody to the father, who would have the means to sustain the lifestyle that the child is used to, and reach some sort of co-parenting arrangement, so that as the children are with the father, they're being sent to the schools they were going to before, they're living in the kinds of houses they were living in before, and then as a mother, you can, you'd visit, spend time with them in different ways. You can agree on how visitation can work, and then this does not disrupt the life of the children. And at the same time, it is not unfair to the man who would have earned that wealth.
Yes.
Which you seem to want to appropriate for yourself as the woman who has gotten tired of the marriage. That seems awfully convenient.
A co-parenting idea is ideal. It's not really realistic in the real world, because one weapon that men use, and I'm saying this again as a feminist, as an activist who has worked with women, is when they want to leave their husbands, the first weapon the men use is, I will take your children from you. And the fact is, he can afford to. So the women now risk losing a relationship with their children. That is just, it's on the table. It's one of the first things the men say. I will take your children from you.
I would say that it works.
The man is not interested in co-parenting.
Just a minute. I feel like it may be difficult to quantify in what instance it happens more, but more than a few men have been alienated from their children from vengeful mothers who also will distance or keep the children away from the father as a punishment.
That does happen.
For grievances caused by the man. Let's say he cheated or all that kind of stuff, right? So in that instance, I feel like that is where courts can intervene, and where both people can be proven to be the parents. Then there should be some structure of how can I say? You should be able to share the custody of the children.
Yes,
at the very least.
Courts intervening means that brings in the factor of economic disparity. Women can rarely afford the court process.
Well, I feel like you can't blame men for being richer. It's not their fault that they're richer.
Yes, I can't blame men for being richer, but we can't realistically realize why women become stuck. They can't afford to fight.
Well, okay, Hakimi's wife is an professional actress, influencer. Mm-hmm. She's not poor by any stretch of the imagination. She can more than comfortably look after herself and their children, even if she obtained sole custody. So why go after half his property?
Because those are the laws of the land. she's entitled to.
So the laws are unfair.
We don't know what went on behind closed doors.
Aren't there unfair laws in this world?
I don't think that's an
Isn't there a law against LGBT in Uganda?
That
doesn't mean it's fair, does it?
No. The alimony law is so important because so many women...
Because it benefits you.
No, because so many women need that financial support once a marriage is over. We can't say, Hakimi's wife is an example of someone who can afford to take care of herself. So many women can't. Once a marriage ends, that's it. Sometimes they don't even have a home to go to.
Again, I struggle to see how that's the man's problem. If you saw me in my life and in my stride, living a good quality life, and you wanted to be a part of it, and thus made yourself available to my pursuit, you chose me. Aside from all of the men of your financial level that were pursuing you, that you rejected for me because I had money, I just don't see why I'm supposed to feel sympathetic for you if upon exiting the relationship with me, your lifestyle quality is reduced. Okay. I absolutely don't see that as my problem. And it is almost, it's a certain entitlement attitude underlying that whole premise. I'm surprised you don't see this.
No, I do.
You are not entitled to live a high quality life.
I have been in a bad relationship. And if I had that legal means, I would take that person for half of what I did, for the pain I went through,
See?
for the night. Honestly,
so
yes.
This isn't about principle.
No. We suffer. I deserve to live with something.
So for us, but you see, and
if
Lindsey,
I've been beaten, if I'm taking care of half of what stepchildren, for the love of Jesus. And then you throw me out and I don't even get anything to show for it. Nothing to show for it.
And this is why...
So it might not be a problem, but it speaks to your character as a man, in my opinion.
And this is not to say that there aren't relationship situations that are unfair to women and also to men. What will you say to the men who would have paid a girl's education for the promise of marriage and then maybe she turns him down? Or a man who may have paid for a woman's mother's cancer treatment and then he gets dumped. I mean, all these disappointments are there, but we don't typically invite the legal process to help us seek redress. We normally lick our wounds, learn our lessons, and try and be more careful next time. in who we date. You get it? Am I going to sue every woman I bought a gift just because she cheated on me?
Why were you buying her a gift?
Because I care about her, I liked her, I want to see her happy. Is it wrong to buy someone you care for?
You can say that, but for very many men, when they're buying women something, they're telling them, I own you. And you are going to pay if you dare leave me. And women have paid. They've been killed.
Well,
for leaving men who have given them things.
Well, the thing is this. I feel like you're proposing a very untenable scenario because I want you to think about what the consequence of what you're arguing is. If you're making it seem like everything that we normally understand to be part of dating culture, relationship, all of the rituals pertaining to gift giving and providing for, if you're presenting these as tools of control, manipulation, and oppression, you're essentially saying to men, okay, so don't do it. Don't do it. Don't buy me gifts because I don't want you to control me. Don't be richer than me because I don't want you to oppress me. So I'm thinking about the message you're sending, because if men were to say, okay, then I hear you, I will never buy you anything, I'll never take you out, I'll never spend money on you,
no,
I will never provide you a quality lifestyle.
What I would like is for men not to have dangerous, mean, ulterior motives behind their expressions of love. And
well, the thing is,
these men do.
I'll say this. As a man, we do find that women are quite good at... They tend to be susceptible to something that is known as retroactive revisionism, where they can create a whole new version of how the relationship ended. So all of a sudden, oh, so tell me about your ex-boyfriend. Oh, he was so controlling. Oh, I see. Then you talk to the ex-boyfriend. Hey, she says you are so controlling. And he's like, yeah, I used to tell her she had to be home by 9 o'clock. We had a fight over it. Oh, I used to tell her not to have male friends. And we had an argument over it. You see what I mean? So to a woman, what is controlling, abusive, toxic, simply, at least seen from a man's eyes, exercises in boundaries and limits.
Is she asking him to be home by 9 p.m.?
Look, this is free choice. I said, listen to me.
Oh God.
Listen to me. If I say to a woman, I need you home by 9 p.m., the woman has two choices. If she feels that my happiness is important enough and she feels compelled to act accordingly, she can. If she feels that it is a restriction that is too terrible for her to deal with, she can exit the relationship. We all are allowed, Lindsey, listen, all of us, men and women, are allowed to have terms and conditions. Relationship isn't you do whatever I want, I do whatever I want. There are limits that a girl will place on me.
Yeah.
I should not sleep around. I should not get kids outside the marriage. I should not, these are
all perfectly reasonable.
You see, reasonable is subjective.
Reasonable.
So me saying to a wife, be home by 9 p.m., that's reasonable. That is reasonable. Or don't frolic about with male friends. Or don't talk to your ex-boyfriend. These are all reasonable requests.
Those are reasonable requests. But don't be home. Giving a woman curfew of 9 p.m. I feel like there are some things that men ask of women that women are not allowed to ask of men.
My point is, see, but in a free society, it all boils down to choice. If you don't like it, exit the relationship.
No, if I don't like it, you be home by 8:30. I find you there.
No, because, and this is why I warned you that the advocacy position you're maintaining is going to turn around and bite you. Because all that is going to happen is men are going to check out of it all. They're just going to say, you know what? I don't have to deal with this.
You just said that women are initiating divorces. We're checking out first.
No, what women are checking out of is specific marriages. They're not checking out of marriage culture itself or dating culture. They still want to find life partners. They still want to be married. I mean, Tinder is full of divorcees. Women looking for a second chance or third chance at love. Women want that. And I'm saying, when I'm talking about men checking out, they're checking out of commitment completely. And they're treating dating as strictly casual business. You frolic about with a girl for as long as the vibes are there. And hey, if she doesn't like something you're doing, she can leave, you move on.
You seem to be describing to me what men have always been like.
Not really.
Yes.
It hasn't been like this. There used to be first of all, prior to the sexual revolution,
monogamy and fidelity are not things that men are famous for. Have ever been famous for.
They have been famous for commitment. You could not previously just sleep with a girl without taking her hand in marriage. Which father was going to let you casually date his daughter?
That culture evolution came and it passed, and now we are in another one.
Exactly.
You cannot sit here and lie to me that fidelity is something that is normal for men.
I didn't say you don't mix my words. I said commitment. I didn't say fidelity.
No, you said commitment is what men have now.
No, it's commitment is what men are checking out
about. Don't be promiscuous. Don't do this. Don't do that. You are that. You've always been that.
Promiscuity is not the same between men and women. It's not the same.
I mean, side dishes are just a thing. There are things.
But you're missing the word commitment in the point that I'm making. Do you understand what commitment means? I am committed to being responsible for you.
Yes.
That your well-being and the provision of your material needs is to be met by me. I commit to myself, to you, and to your family that I shall do this. This is what was historically done. Even if I took on a third wife, second, third, fourth wife, had concubines and mistresses, if I went to your father and claimed your hand and requested your hand in marriage, I would have to be committed to you. And violating that promise would have earned me many problems in society.
So tell me again why today
it would have affected my reputation.
Yeah.
Even in the old days.
Mm-hmm.
You get it?
Yes.
So my point is, I'm saying that is what men are checking out of these days. They're just saying they're not going to commit to women. They're just going to deal with them casually. But if we move into the culture of casual, non-committal, situationship type relationship, paradigm, that benefits men more than women, and I feel like you guys are doing everything possible to push it in that direction.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Are you questioning women's commitment to men today? Has it changed?
Their desire for commitment has not changed. Many still do want to get married.
No, are they committed?
Actually,
in
no.
their
Let me rephrase.
In their marriages.
Let me rephrase. Their desire for a commitment from men has stayed the same. I don't think their desire to commit has gone up. In fact, I think they rarely ever want to commit to a man, but they certainly do want a man to commit to them.
I would disagree with you.
But
yes, they want a man to commit to them, but I would say that women are extremely committed. Once they commit, yeah. Once they commit, they commit.
Joke of the year. Why do they initiate the majority of the divorces then?
Well,
that doesn't sound like you're keen on commitment.
Because times have changed.
90% when you have a degree.
Changed. I feel like I'm not a historian. I'm not a psychologist. I haven't studied this, but I feel like men have realized that they can get away with anything today.
Do you know what commitment means? Sticking around even when things are bad. That's the meaning of commitment.
And then why is it that...
Do you agree?
Yes.
So just because you're not happy in your marriage, it doesn't... If you're supposed to be a committed person, it doesn't mean you leave the marriage, is what I'm saying.
Yes, but men will leave a marriage for a reason as simple as a woman falling sick.
I don't know about that, but just
scientific studies have proven that men leave their wives.
But just by looking at divorce statistics, we know that at least formally it is women that request to exit the marriages.
For reasons like that, perhaps men have become leavers or players, or time wasters, stressors.
Okay, so how about this? Then women and men should not get married. Problem solved. Right?
Or
if it's so inconvenient,
go through the process of divorce. Give the process of marriage before you get married as seriously as you'd give the process of divorce. Whether it means signing a prenuptial
because
agreement.
as you know, my message to men is to not get married. Is to simply not get married.
And after this conversation, after everything I've seen, I would worry why women would want to marry men.
But then they do.
Yeah, but that from what I've seen, I would wonder, like, why would you want to marry men if this is how they are viewing you?
I have an answer for you, but you're not going to like it.
I rarely like anything you have to say, so it's fine. Throw it at me.
Security. Women do want security. They do want a partner that can look after them into their old age. Nowadays it is the older they get that they seem to appreciate this more. And as the joke goes, women want to be married, but they don't want to be wives. They're not that interested in picking up after you, looking after you. What they want is to obtain the title of wife, in the status of married, and to be done with it. Because in and of itself, it's a validating label, you see.
Okay.
I am so worthy that I was deemed fit for marriage kind of thing. It's a weird psychological trick women play on themselves.
No, it's a patriarchal trick that men have played on women.
If it is so patriarchal, then why is it women that are insisting on wanting to still be married?
Because women are the gatekeepers of the patriarchy, and that is a whole other conversation.
Do you have no agency at all? Are women incapable of independent thought? Because I at least respect a woman's ability to think for herself.
Yes.
So I'm not going to claim that a woman is either brainwashed, doesn't know what she's thinking when she advocates for certain things. I'm going to treat it as her personal opinion, because you seem to want to discount that and attribute it to brainwashing and self-delusion or self-hate. How is that not a very sexist stance?
I've not said anything about
because to say women are the gatekeepers of patriarchy.
But they are. It is a woman who is going to tell you, a man wants this, you must do this to get a man.
Which women are saying this?
Very, very many women. Hence the word senga. She exists for a reason, preparing you for the man.
But they never listen.
No one is preparing the men for the women.
I'll tell you why.
I've never seen that happen.
And that's the purpose. And I'm glad you made that point. That is why the boy child movement exists. It's why the manosphere exists. It is for us, the older men, to educate the younger men, because no one's talking to them. You are right. Women have benefited from sengas, and yet, funny enough, they don't seem to want to listen to the sengas, because what is it that sengas say? These are typically traditional women who will say to the woman, don't argue with your husband, give him sex whenever he wants, be silent, be submissive. And yet we know today, in most households, that is absolutely not what happens. And it is why the divorce rates are escalating. So the whole Senga thing, it's performative. It's just a ritual. It's not even taken seriously. They're like, oh, am I getting married? Let's have a Senga here and tell us about kneeling down for men. Yeah, we'll just have a good laugh with the girls, because you can be sure she will not be doing that in her home.
I was present once during one of those things, and what they were telling us to do for our men sexually, I was like, man,
exactly.
I wish someone was telling men how to treat a woman in bed, because wow.
So the point is that at least you and I agree, because
we are not just there to cook and clean for you. We are there to make you have the best sexual experience.
So you have
what
proven,
do we get?
You have just proven that most of you modern women think that Isenga's advice is ludicrous.
I'm not saying Senga. I am saying gatekeepers of patriarchy. What you want to call them is what you want to call them.
Okay, so for me, in terms of men, what I say for us on the manosphere, we're doing a very good job of educating men about female nature. We are simply helping men to manage their expectations. It is not to say that every relationship situation will be terrible. You will encounter women who are reasonable. But the point is also to ensure that should you find such a woman, you are able to handle it in such a way that she remains reasonable. Because people respond to incentives. A reasonable woman today can be a real bitch tomorrow.
If you tell me to be home by 9 p.m.,
exactly.
I'll be a bitch.
Exactly. So these are the things we educate men about it. A lot of them are entering into relationships while being more cogent about their expectations. That, hey, do you have a girlfriend? Beware, chances are she's talking to 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. She may not be sleeping with them, but they're in the back burner. The so-called male friends she keeps talking about, those are her backup dudes. Beware. And so once you enter a relationship, understanding these dynamics, a lot of these things don't come to you as a surprise, which previously they have. So young men of today can thank us, the older men in the manosphere, for being there to teach them these lessons.
I'm not hearing you teaching them how to treat women. I'm hearing you telling them how to beware of women.
Because for as long as a man pursues his excellence and strives to be on top of his game physically in terms of fitness and health, financially in terms of job, business, or career, that in and of itself becomes the magnet that pulls women.
You lost me at physically.
It's true. Don't women like guys that are in shape and take care of themselves? These days, a lot of them do.
Yeah. They do, but the men don't need to stay in shape for a woman to marry them.
And so if you have status,
while a woman
success,
must look a certain way before a man marries her.
It's a matter of choice is what I'm saying.
It's a matter of society.
But still, it's a society in which people can exercise choice. And it is up to you to choose the kind of man you want. Now, if you want a high-status man of means who has succeeded in various avenues of his life, good for you. But at the same time, understand that there are trade-offs you're going to have to make. In just the same way that if I decided I want to date Beyonce, I can't date Beyonce and expect that she will agree to all my terms, and probably she will reject everything I suggest. I will have to accept that she'll be a very busy woman. She will be globetrotting. She'll be surrounded by men for different reasons. But then it would be my choice to enter that relationship with her, knowing this. So that's what women need to do. Make an informed choice about the men you are choosing to date or to marry, and pick one that best suits your lifestyle and aspirations.
I'm glad that you brought up Beyonce. I've noticed that many men do not question the respect for Beyonce's time, for her work, for her efforts. You do know that Jay-Z had to pay her $5 million for every child that she had.
I don't know that that's true. But,
it is true.
But even if it were true, but even if it is true, you see, it's all choice. If he feels that she is worthy to be paid that money, I'm not there to stop him from doing that. He can give her $10 million if he wants per child. That's his business.
You don't see the benefit. You don't see the sacrifice or the work a woman puts in carrying your child for 9 months. The risk of death during childbirth.
So is a woman doing a man a favor by having a child?
Her potential losing of a job because of... She's not doing a favor, but she's making sacrifices you will never even begin to understand.
So if it is so terrible, why does she do it? She has a zillion birth control options available at her disposal.
She wants to be a mother. You want to be a father. You've agreed to be a couple.
Sometimes
so
not.
Why don't you appreciate what getting pregnant and what that means after that for a woman, even in terms of income?
See, what you're trying to do is to put a price to it, though.
Yeah, I'm putting a cost to it, not a price.
Same thing, semantics. And if you do that, and I warned you about this on Twitter, once you want to attach a price, or as you say, cost, to the contributions a woman makes to a man's life, you immediately make him view you through that lens of, I own you, because now he's paying for a service. If you say, per child, I need $10 million, it's like, okay, and now you're my employee. I get to dictate the terms. I get to name the child what I want, send it to the school I want to go to. You have no say because I'm paying you. You're an employee.
Well, because maybe while I'm giving birth to the child, you're in a bar having fun with your friends as I'm dying and bleeding out on the table.
Well, you make it sound as though you do not benefit from... You see, and this is I feel like this is where it becomes a scam. It's not as though mothers derive no benefit from having children. It's not like you give birth to children and, here you go, Mr. Daddy, it's all yours and you enjoy all the benefits. These are children who are going to look after you. Children are security for mothers.
Yes.
When you are 60 years old, who is going to be taking you to hospital, feeding you, keeping a roof over your head? It's your kids. So stop acting like you're gifting men children.
Actually, it's your daughters, not your sons.
But my point, but it's still the same. Children are an asset to both parents.
Yes, but I would like to stress that many men do not appreciate.
Hakimi gave his money to which parents? Hakimi.
That man would have given his money to
his mama,
to a hamster if he could. It wasn't about
not to his daddy.
He would have given it to a hamster if he could. His job was to make sure that the woman didn't.
How many
anything.
songs do men sing about their moms? It's like it's endless. Even rappers, Tupac, Dear Mama, ain't no nice song for daddy. So,
that's not true.
You make it seem that women's contributions in childbirth and rearing is taken for granted, and I would disagree.
That is not true.
But anyway,
no, stop. No, I have to say this.
How many
one
Dear Daddy
One
songs
of the benefits of the cultural evolution has been appreciation of fathers, big time, by the way.
I think fathers are denigrated, actually.
To you. But from what I observe, there is a big appreciation of fathers, and it's even getting better as fathers become more involved in their children's lives.
Well, one thing I can say for sure is that I'm glad you're here with us today on the Fatboy Show. This is Lindsey, activist and journalist, very active person on Twitter. She's a writer too, and as you can hear, she has very many powerful opinions about many of these issues, which is why, of course, we invited her back to join us in conversation, and we'll continue conversing about these issues as it pertains to dating, marriage, relationships, men versus women in the Is it the 21st century?
It's the I don't know, actually.
It is still the 21st century. Stay tuned to RX Radio.